Hello, everyone, and welcome to yet another edition of Get Real with Jack and Cindy. And this is our second podcast, 2025, second season. Yeah.
Second season,
Yeah.
second podcast. It's really, thank you so much. We really want to thank you for taking the ride with us. This has been such a great experience. And I think we're just really getting kind of good at it.
Yeah.
We're starting to figure out what we want to really do and talk about. And,
we're in the top 25 of podcasts.
Yeah, and it's about getting real. That was kind of the premise from the beginning was getting real. Thank you. Yeah. This is Katie Tuttle, dear friend Katie Tuttle. She's our guest today, and she is the owner of the store Clear, which is attached to T.A. Lorton, and it's an organizing and decorating store.
An organization in 2025. That is my thing.
Okay,
my jam.
Yeah. And we've known each other since you were in college. I wasn't. I was already.
So only like 5 years ago.
I was an old man of 21 or 22 at that
maybe
time.
6 or 7.
Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah.
So her mother was best friends with the man I used to work for, Charles Fadre.
Oh, yeah.
So they lived in Muskogee at the same time and loved each other. And
Yeah.
so at that time, your mom, Diney, lived in Muskogee when I worked at the shop, but she would come in a lot, and it was kind of a hard time for your family with your dad. And so we went to Muskogee a few times and saw your dad.
Oh, yeah.
But
I remember that like it was yesterday.
Yeah.
It's so crazy.
so interesting. And
Yes.
then you ended up getting married and moving to Tulsa after college
Right.
in that little David's old house.
Yeah, lived
Yeah.
in David Weekend's old house. Yes.
And so we've had quite a history together. And then more recently, we sold you a house. It's been quite a while ago now, but we sold you a house and you redid it as kind of a flip project, and then ended up using it as your initial store and kind of got Clear started
Right.
under that, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Yes. It was kind of while Tracy was redoing she bought a building downtown at 6 and Zunis, and so it's a 10,000 square foot building.
That's
so
Tracy
she
Lorton
was-
of T.A. Lorton.
Right. And so she was redoing it. So I had the flip house. It's the cutest little house. It was right
Across the street from my
right across
house.
the street from Jack.
Ah.
it was
So many
fun.
evenings we would sit on the
Many
floor
nights we would-
labeling
we would-
stuff and
Well, he would help me. He would come over and help
And
me.
talking
do
about that
stuff.
was a hard
And
time
it was
for
a-
me.
yeah, terrible
So I
time
was
for
in a
John.
terrible time after John
After
died.
John died.
So I'd go over and we'd just cry and label
Yeah.
and cry and label and laugh.
and
while
get
laughing.
get mad. I'm like, why is he not here to
Yeah.
do this with us? But
We-
yeah, it was a good time to be over there when
It was.
fun.
No, it was
It
kind of
was.
a real
It
God
was.
deal.
The name Clear, is that more because it's like acrylics, clear your mind? Where did the name
Kind
come
of
from?
everything. Originally I think I don't know, when I thought of it, I'd never worked before. I mean, we have 3 girls, and so I stayed home until Allie, our
You
oldest
organized
one-
them.
Yes. Tried
Very
to.
well.
Tried to. She went to college, and then
I will say Katie's home is one of the most beautiful homes. She has done such an amazing, she is
thank you.
an absolute artist when it comes to what you do with your
Thank you, Jack.
interiors. So
You're sweet.
it wasn't like you just came out of nowhere. That was your thing.
Your talent.
Well, I do love to do it. I think when I was young, it was it calms me down, because when my parents would fight
interesting.
when I was little, it was like, if anything's gonna fall apart, that was my control. Like
Mhm.
I can remember when they would fight and I was little, I would go and organize my room. And I mean, talk about Charles, we lived in the same neighborhood as he and Francie, and so my favorite thing to do was redecorate my room. And I'd say, Charles, will you come switch around my room? And he'd switch around the desk. And then, so yeah, I love to do that. My girls are always like, Mom, are you like a nerd? I mean, what did you do when you were growing up? That's all you did is organize your room? And I was like, well, that's not all I did. A lot of times. But anyway, I always loved to. And then I think, I don't know. I mean, I look back when times in my life, since I've been married. I mean, when I remember when my mom got sick, I have to it's my control. I mean, it's like it's like my one thing that I can be sure of is okay, which a lot of times it's not really that great, I feel like. And I think I've gotten better as the years have gone on. I mean, I think my kids would probably say I'm a little more relaxed now, thank gosh. But yeah, I
love that though. I think that's that's what this whole thing is, get real, and I think that's such a great thing. Like few people would say what you just said about what it is that brought them to him, but it is I think what I'm hearing you say, don't let me put words in your mouth, but what I'm hearing you say is it brings order to chaos.
It does. It's it's order to chaos. And a lot of times, I mean, for me, a lot of times it was an unhealth. I mean, it was like I couldn't go to sleep at night till every little thing is. I mean, it's exhausting.
Oh, you're on one end of the spectrum. I'm
Yeah.
on the
Well,
other.
but-
I'm like,
but
yeah, I'll find it tomorrow.
But I tell people all the time, they'll say, "Oh, I could never have you come to my house." I'm like, "You have no. I would give anything to be able to like let things go, especially when my kids were little. I mean, it was, you know,
I think
it's
control.
It's exhausting.
But I think
But-
control is a really interesting thing. I think wanting control of our lives and how that manifests
Yeah.
is really interesting.
It
I mean, I
is.
think we all can look at our good and our bad,
for sure.
and that's where it comes from. You know, I think it's even like when I think in terms of my career and the things that have driven me, it's been somewhat out of approving that I'm not going to let you define who I am.
Right.
Just because you told me all those years I was less than you or
Right.
I will show you. And so it was an unhealthy in some ways,
Right.
but it certainly motivated me
It does,
to
yeah.
do what I needed to do to get that done. And then I
Exactly.
could step back and go, okay, you're good.
You're
You don't need to prove
You're
anything to
good.
anybody other
Yeah.
than yourself
Yeah.
now. So
Yeah, motivated you to do
Yeah.
what you wanted to do, and you know, but then you have to be.
But I also think it's because I mean I know your story so well.
Yeah.
And your father was ended up being a recovering alcoholic, but
Right.
when he was drinking,
Yes.
then that was where that chaos in your household
Totally.
came in. So
Totally.
I think I know your family's very open about that. So
Yes.
I'm not trying to
Very.
do anything.
I'm
But
an open book.
but
at
so-
all times,
so
for sure.
it really is as a child living in that situation.
Mhm.
That's where you find
It
order.
is.
So
It
how
is.
beautiful that you've taken that and turned it into something that is benefiting so many people,
Yeah.
allowing yours to go out and help people to find order to their chaos. I
Yes,
love that.
I know.
love that.
Thank you.
I
John.
do miss you being across the street. I know
do.
the shop is
I
beautiful
know. I
and
do.
wonderful,
I
and
miss-
Tracy
I
is
miss
great.
that all the time. Oh my gosh, that
You know,
was,
Tracy
that really
used to
was fun.
go every day. Whenever we were in Utica Square, and she had the store next door. Taylor was next door to Charles,
Right,
and she
right.
would come in every day at 3:30 and ask us for our yogurt order, and she
The
would go
yogurt
get
order.
yogurt.
Oh,
So
yeah.
forever,
Yeah.
Tracy was the yogurt girl for me. Like sort of funny how now she's like. She's always been Tracy and
Exactly.
owned her fabulous store.
I mean,
but,
exactly. I can remember. I laugh because I can remember when she was in there. I can't remember how old I was, but I remember the things that I loved. I mean, of course, I loved everything in her shop. I mean, I want everything in
Her
her.
taste is
It's
amazing.
amazing. But I remember these boxes, and because I have this thing for boxes. Anything that has like can contain anything. I mean, like a drawer, any piece of furniture that has drawers or anything. I'm always drawn to it. But I remember getting these boxes at her store, or my mom got them, I think, for her closet. And I was in love with them. So I died laughing. And Tracy goes, with all the stuff that was in my house, that's what you wanted? I go, yeah.
And that's why you have
I
the
mean, what
organizing.
does that say about me?
But that's why you have the
Yeah.
organizing
Yeah.
store attached to her store.
True,
You're
yes.
full of boxes and
Yes,
compartments.
boxes,
Yeah.
Yep.
So
That's
for,
so
for
fun.
2025, I am not a big person in coming up with New Year's resolutions, but I like New Year improvements.
I love
Like,
that.
Right.
what am I going to
I was kind of like that we're in
change?
February and we're talking about these things now. It's like everybody did all that beginning
Yeah,
crap and now they've already stopped. So now let's get real about what it is we're trying to do.
exactly. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So and I'm going to touch our screen right here just to make sure the computer doesn't. There we go. So improvements. One of the improvements I'm doing is I'm organizing my house. Then I'm going to my mom's
So
house.
good.
Little bits and pieces. But I started in 2020 this huge organizing, thinking, I'm going to be locked in my house for months at a time. We know what happened to real estate, and
Yeah.
so I've had projects that have been sitting there for just a few years for me to finish. For somebody who looks at their house and they're overwhelmed, where
Right.
do I start? Where do you suggest that they start? And what kind of things might be best to tackle first?
Ooh, I love that. Yeah.
So I always tell people,
Not that I've been asking mymyself this since the beginning of
No,
2025.
This
let me
is
just
not
tell you.
for Cindy. This is for you,
Asking
public.
for a
Exactly.
friend.
Exactly. Well, I always tell people that start with the area that you use the most and that drives you the most crazy. One or the other. Like what
The
usually-
quickest
for-
thing that will bring you feeling
Yeah,
of
like
order.
what place in your house overwhelms you the most? I mean, a lot of like a mud room. If
That's
you
so
have
interesting because we
kids
all
or-
want to start with the junk drawer, the
Yeah,
thing we don't
yeah,
even
yeah,
look at.
Yeah. Or what, like a kid, as someone who cooks a lot or is in the kitchen a lot, like what bugs you the most? I mean, what is just when you go in there, you just walk out because it's too overwhelming.
Yes.
And I think that's usually a good place to start.
Because I started with my closet.
Yeah.
And that's
once
different
I
for
finished,
everybody. I would
once
think,
I finished
too,
my
yeah.
closet, then I went to my kitchen.
I mean, I have the tendency because I can get like my head starts spinning and I will start a million things and then it's overwhelming. And that's what I tell people, like if you start with one area, I mean, it can be a drawer. I mean, anything, and you do it, and like for example, if it's a drawer, take every single thing out of it, and like really, it'll make you realize how much junk that you have that you never use, So start with that. And then once you have that drawer that's like completely organized, I mean, it kind of motivates you to keep going. You're like, okay,
So it's like my dad used
this
to
is kind
say,
of freeing,
do what's in
it
front
feels
of you
good.
first.
Right.
So like whatever's in front of you is what's bugging you
Yeah.
the most. Do
Yeah.
it first and then work your way into
Yes.
the nooks and crannies.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Most impact at the beginning.
Yeah. And a lot of times if people do get really overwhelmed, sometimes it's better to start with like a little area, instead of like a kitchen or, something like that. Or, if you have a huge closet, sometimes it's overwhelming.
And I have a small closet, so it's suffocating when you walk in there. So
Right.
for me to get everything out and
Yep.
start trying to figure out the best ways for it to be organized and get the stuff out of there I wasn't wearing was a big relief. I did that
It is
prior
huge.
to
It's-
rotator cuff surgery.
Honestly, it's like you've lifted like 10 pounds off. I mean, you're just like,
Because if not, it gets laid over my bathtub.
oh yeah,
Like
you just
that's a nice
you
little
just stack it.
clothes
You just
treadmill.
stack it.
Everyone's treadmill.
Yeah. But I think it's good to like a little closet, like take every single thing out of it, and then when you see it like empty, it makes you really want to weed it out because you're like,
Oh,
Wow,
instead
this
of
is-
trying to
Yes.
piecemeal, just
and like take everything
out.
out. And then like I always tell people like your clothes, like if you haven't worn it in 4 seasons, I mean obviously there are things like jeans or whatever that are gonna
I'll get into that
yeah,
next
I'll
year.
get into that, or that are that aren't in style and they're like high rise or low rise or whatever, and they're going to come back and you want to hold on to them. But for the most part, if you haven't worn it in a year, in 4 seasons, I mean you're not going to wear it usually,
Right.
or the things that you really never pull. Like I have things that I'll pull out to wear and I'm like, and then if I put it back in, I'm like, I'm going to say that the next time I go to put it on. You
Right.
know?
Might as well just
So
put it in the
just-
donate
just-
pile
just-
or resale.
Yes. I mean, yeah, I take a ton of stuff to resell. My Chad always says, my husband says, I'll go, I got like an $800 and something check today at the place. And he's like, that's awesome. Cause I can't imagine the amount of clothes that we took there to get an $800 check. I'm like,
What did it cost you?
Yeah.
But you got something
Yeah.
out of it.
Yeah.
I mean, that's part of it. And then also
Small
Goodwill, you
steps.
can get those
Yeah.
write-offs.
Yes.
That can be a really
Yes.
great way to do things. And if you really
Yes.
read what you can, if you're supposed to really inventory what you give them, and if you do and you read the values, it can add up.
It can.
It's
No, it can
very
add up.
good.
It
And
is.
one of the things I did in my kitchen, so I would love to know other little tricks.
Okay.
I have friends that, have brand new houses and have all these great drawers.
Right.
And I didn't realize there was such a difference between cabinets and
And
drawers.
Mhm.
And so I looked at my husband and I said, I want to totally redo all the cabinets in my kitchen. And he said, better find another way. So I ended up getting
Those husbands.
I know,
Damn
damn
it,
it.
I did.
know.
I mean, seriously, I'm just like, I have a list of all this stuff. I need to win the lottery.
But yeah, I'm like a $20,000 job, or maybe I can find some other ways to organize.
Maybe I can find some little.
So I ended up getting the drawers that
The
you
drawers.
don't even have to screw them in. Like you attach them with sticky stuff, whatever it is,
Yes,
and you can just pull them out. And I have discovered so many great things in my kitchen I forgot I even had.
totally.
Now I'm
You-
getting
you
back to
forget. You
the
just
back
stuff
of the
it in.
cabinet.
Mhm.
So I all the cabinets, I put those in that were low. So now they're like drawers.
It's the best.
And I put a bunch of stuff into the garage sale pile that I'm like, I haven't used it in 3 seasons,
I know.
But what other kinds of things, just simple changes can you make that might make your kitchen, your closet, your bathroom, your whatever that you want to organize more organized for not that
More
much
functional.
money?
More
Yeah, more
functional.
functional.
And well, it's funny that you said that about the cabinets and stuff because a lot of people, well, I've had several people say, will you come, like they're either redoing a kitchen or do, you know, with a new house, they have a new build, and they'll say, you know, how would you lay out a pantry or a closet? And honestly, like sometimes, a lot of times, I mean, the bigger pantries and the big are honestly harder to keep because
interesting.
because it's like or
You gotta fill the space.
you have to fill the space, and you
It's
fill
like
it.
bookshelves.
So you just
How many books do you want?
I mean, how many, you know, how many things can I put in there? And then it just gets overwhelming. And then you start stacking them and you never use 3/4 of them. You know, it really is true. And some of the, like with the pantry cabinets, I mean, some of them are so deep that it's like you can't, you know, you have food back there that you never use. And then before you know it, you have stuff that's been expired for 5 years and you never use it. So a lot of times, honestly, the simple little pantries, I mean, just, you know, with the shelves that are, you know, deep enough to obviously fit an organizer, fit something on. But, you know,
Do you like
honestly,
baskets?
I do. So I have different, I mean, things like you said.
You've never
and
seen a
like the
pantry
drawers.
like her pantry. It is so
Ooh,
cool.
I want to.
It really
I want to
is.
do a
It's
tour.
exhausting. No, honestly, I feel like I need another clean out. But
I think that's a
love
good
the
point
drawers.
though, because I do think that we tend to do it and then think you're stuck with it. You know, like you did my drawers in my.
Oh my gosh, remember that? I
And
forgot about
and
that.
I still I use it exactly the way you left it.
Yep.
When you did
Well,
the bathroom.
Remember,
drawer.
John would stand over and say,
Oh my God.
no.
But you know
are
what?
you
But
sure?"
John really was vocal about
Yes.
how we live,
Yes.
and you guys got that done. And I mean,
Yeah.
I still my medicine is in that place, my hair stuff. Like I have kept that like that. Now, what I have noticed is in the kitchen where you did our pantry, like I don't use turmeric every day, and I have like a whole thing of, and it's so like
You're
instead of-
minimalist, Jack. Though.
I'm
You're
very minimalist.
very minimalist.
And so for me, I'm like, I need to get rid of that because I don't use that. You know, and it's like,
Right.
and I did the other day. I discovered I have 3 sets of measuring cups. I don't need 3 sets of
No.
measuring cups.
Yeah.
But I don't
I think we're all
like.
that.
How do
It's
you
exhausting.
decide which? Yeah, but I think the duplicates is a good place to start. Like if you have triplicate, you don't
You don't
definitely
need
need
it.
3.
Yeah.
Duplicate, maybe you could.
Yeah, like
you
a measuring
justify
cup.
it.
One's
Yeah.
dirty usually, you know, a lot of the time.
Like,
but
what
yeah.
do you really use, and what do you really just keeping because you feel bad about getting rid of it, or you just don't want to
Yeah,
do
and
it.
you have to just make yourself think, you know, which ones do I grab? Which bowls do I grab when I'm cooking? You know, I mean, because there's like the heavier ones and stuff, or mixing bowls. I never use them, and so I
Yeah.
just have started just to get rid of them.
And like for me
Just-
now, I've changed over to using stainless steel instead of melamine or plastic because I don't want the microplastic in my food.
Mhm.
And so, all those mixing bowls that I don't ever use, I'm get rid of them because I don't want to use them. I want to use the stainless.
Yep.
So for me, with my life, I just want 6 stainless, different size stainless bowls, and that's all I need. I mean,
Yeah.
like it is sort of funny because after John, I really did learn I am very, very minimalist.
Yeah.
And it's like, and I feel comfort when I walk in and spaces are clear
It
and
is.
clean.
It's
Not
I agree.
clinical, but
yeah.
you know.
But it's freeing to not have all that just extra weight. I mean, it's overwhelming. It gets overwhelming really fast.
It's
in
also,
a
I
lot of
think you
ways.
get into that, like, one thing I will say, your aesthetic is so good. And I think that's
Thank you,
where the aesthetic and you and I bond over that a lot because we both have a very similar eye for that. But it's, you know, but I'm more into natural stuff and a little bit, you're getting more that way. You
I
have
am
some,
kinda-
and a lot of your
kinda.
stuff in my house was from your shop, and
I mean, I
really
know I
loving
am
it.
kind of
Yeah.
getting more natural. We're painting Millie's room right now. You'd be proud of me, and I'm like maybe doing a color. She's like, "Mom, what's happening?
I love it.
What's happening to you?"
Yay,
I
color.
love it. Yeah. You know what? Though it's also
It is.
I think that's part of life too. Though we just trend towards like, you know, when I was at Charles's, I was so young and everything was so I grew up in a Japanese house. Like my parents have all Japanese antiques. And then I went to Charles and it was all country French and it was layered and beautiful. I mean, you know, you're
I
in
still
people
love country.
I do too. And if you're in these gorgeous,
funny, my
gorgeous
girls do
homes,
too. They
and
all do.
Charles was so talented
Mhm.
that you couldn't help but go, and plus he would
Yeah.
give me stuff.
Yeah.
You know,
So
he
you're-
gave me so much stuff that I
And
was
then you
like,
kind of gravitate towards that.
and that's
you
how
know?
my parents ended up doing
Yeah.
Japanese antiques because my aunt gave them all of her stuff from when she lived in Japan during the war, after the war. So that's how they kind of found their love. So for me, at first, it was I worked for Charles, and he would move, and
Yeah.
you probably remember this. He packed his entire house in shopping bags.
Oh my
and we
gosh.
all would move
You
his
did?
house.
I don't remember that.
Yes, we almost everything was packed in shopping bags, and we all put it in our cars because he didn't want the movers taking all
Taking
those
them.
things. So then he'd go,
Take
take that, take it, take it.
Yeah.
Take it.
Here, get out of here.
Oh my God, I missed him so much.
Oh, I do
But
too.
so I just collected all these great things, and then it was sort of funny because then over time
Yeah.
that wasn't really my look. I'm more California contemporary Baja, and so that's where I've evolved back into. But it's like giving yourself grace to go, okay, I've done that, and it was a good period, and it was beautiful, but it's not me anymore,
Yeah.
or I want certain elements of it. So
And you've said that before, like let it give joy to somebody else.
absolutely,
If it's not going to give you joy anymore.
Yes.
absolutely. So I think that's where it comes down to too, like you're at the editing part. You know,
Editing.
I like that home edit thing
Yeah.
where it's like,
Home edit.
you know, it's a
that book,
constant
the show, the
process.
magazine.
It's great. They
Mhm.
they are
They're
really
really good.
They're really
yeah.
really good. They really are.
So
And their products are good. I
Mhm.
mean, like talking about the drawers and stuff, like all their products that are, you know, at the Container Store and all those places, like I mean, they made them because they couldn't find things that they needed, and so
Mhm.
you know, like all the things that they're practical, you know, like
Mhm.
the size of all their stuff and the fact that they stack, and that's you know, to answer your question earlier about what are little tips. I mean, they have such great products now that like under a sink. I mean, I have a couple of things at the shop that I use. I feel like in every house I go to because like one they're these and I've talked about them like a million times.
you
but
really
they're-
have to go see her store. It's
Mm,
incredible.
thank
It is.
Yes,
Go ahead.
please
I'm
do
sorry.
come. No, I thank you, Jack. But they're plastic. They're so inexpensive, and they come in like I don't know how many, maybe 6 different like widths and lengths, and so
Mhm.
and they're plastic and they have rollers on the bottom, and I mean they're so cheap,
Mhm.
and you can't hurt them because they're plastic, and so that they have dividers in them, but then they're removable, so you can take the dividers out. You know, if you if you have, and so I do them like underneath every sink because
That's
like
smart.
in my girls' bathroom, they all 3 share one bathroom, and so like I have them lined up, you know, across in the cabinet,
How
and then I have
barbaric.
like yes, like they're you know like their tampons and you know, and I usually I try to take everything out of a box, and I'll do you know their soap and you know all their things, but anyway they're just practical and they
You
have
just
wheels
open
on
up
them.
the drawer.
And yeah, and they roll out and they stack. So yeah, there's so many products that are so practical.
You know
And,
your girls are going to scream and yell when they say, "You talked about our
Oh,
tampon."
yeah. They're over it at this point, I think. Whatever, mom. Yeah,
Now, are
whatever.
you a labeler? Do you love labels?
I don't love labels.
You don't.
No.
I have 2 labelers, so
I know.
I'm kind of getting into it.
That's it's the aesthetic thing for me. It's kind
Uh-huh.
of like I hate.
You just
to
want
do
to
it.
see through.
But
and see
here,
what's there.
I do.
If
because
it's
like-
clear, you don't need a label because
Yeah.
you see what's in there, and then you put like with like.
There
That's
you go.
what.
I know
yeah.
I struggle with it because
Oh
then
God, John labeled everything.
I know I have to watch it because if I do a pantry or whatever and they come in and they do these big labels and I'm
My
like,
favorite was he had one
I
that
have,
had.
to, I have to suck it up because it is practical to have them. It's just me and my.
But do you remember the
OCD
ones John?
tendencies where I'm like,
John had labeler, and then had his labeler. You and I gave him so much crap over that. He was like, labeler.
and then he would look up with that smile on his face because he would be like so proud. Oh my God.
This is my favorite. You always go, yeah. So I love it.
Such
No,
a
but I
mess.
think that the label thing is great if it's like when you have linen boxes and things that are like that it's covered just so you kind of have an idea. But the other thing too is I think what you've taught me more than anything is you're organizing around your life. And so if you're organizing for your life, you know what's there.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
do. That's a good point.
And
You
so
do.
I know the paper goes there. I don't, and so I think it's just if you're doing like an office, a public office where you want people or for kids, it's
Yeah.
probably great for kids.
Yeah,
This is where you put the brush back. It's
Yeah.
almost kind of like
everything. That's what
practical.
everything has a place.
Yeah. So for kids, I think labels could be great, or for
Yeah.
an office that you're sharing with other people. I think that's a great idea. Or if
Right.
you don't like the clear look.
Oh, I love. Now that's one thing. I'm so into acrylic stuff. Love
Yeah.
it.
Well, it just doesn't. You don't ever get tired of it because
Yeah.
it's clear and
Except
you
at
can,
a certain point, I walked in our house and I said, John, I think I'm living in Wonder Woman's plane.
Yes.
We gotta have some
Come on.
stuff other
We've gotta-
than this
Yeah,
lucite and
And I
plastic.
know my mom used to say the same thing to me, Katie. We've got enough acrylic. We need to change it up.
I literally feel like I'm gonna get in and go, we're flying the airplane now.
But then you don't get tired of it, and then you
It
can,
is
then
beautiful.
you can put color with it. You know, you can
Mhm.
add colors to
Yeah.
it, and it goes with everything. So I think that's why I started out. You know, because I mean, most of the organizers and stuff that I had, like all my containers,
It's hard to imagine those.
canisters are clear. So
Mhm.
you know, when I was thinking of my name, I just
And lucite wasn't what I mean. People were. It was a new thing 5-10 years ago to people. Like it had been
was.
around for a long time. I mean, we had the ghost chairs at Charles
ghost
Shaw,
chairs,
but they were
yeah.
like $800.
Yeah.
So I think that lucite thing.
Ghost chairs. I
Yeah.
like
The
that.
ghost chairs, yeah.
That's what
And
the
it's
original. The
crazy.
original lucite chair was a ghost
was a
chair.
ghost chair.
Yeah.
Acrylic or you know any lucite, it's skyrocketed since
Oh.
COVID. You
It
know,
also
because
scratches.
it does scratch. Yeah, try being OCD like me, and most everything in my shop is clear, and so it gets dust on it. And you have to, and so then when people come in, and I have just seen like a tape dispenser or whatever, and I'm like, okay, like I know it was here, but I can't find it because everything's clear in the shop. So sometimes I'm like, okay, give me a few minutes.
So they go in and
It's in
organize.
here somewhere.
They go in an organizing store and you go, I don't know where
I don't know.
stuff is.
Oh, God.
So maybe you should have labels.
But during COVID, I mean, the prices almost double with all, because I do.
Oh wow. Yeah, it makes
a
sense.
lot of acrylic like inserts and stuff.
Mhm.
And so the price has just gone up so much because, I remember the plastics place, we could barely get stuff during COVID because they were doing all the screens and everything, all the,
Oh, that's right.
and they had
I didn't even think
Yeah.
about that.
and they
Okay.
couldn't even, they couldn't do them fast enough because they were doing them for everyone,
Right.
everybody.
Rest- Do you
Restaurants
still get a lot
to
of
everything.
Custom acrylic stuff made like you used to?
Yeah.
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 She does really
Do it.
cut cool crust.
Oh
Like
my
even in the closet,
Oh my
things
gosh,
that go
you
in the
would die.
section.
You would- if you came,
What time do you
I'll-
close today?
I'll have to show you some pictures. You'll die because it's
No,
all
seriously,
like
you
custom, so it
need
doesn't
to go to
move
her
in your
store.
drawer, and it's the best.
In
They
fact,
are.
you know what? I'm going to start coming to your store like every now and then, and we can just go over some of your favorite stuff and do
Ooh,
social
can
media.
we?
Yeah, because I think it's
I would
such
love
a
that because
great.
I'm the worst about doing
Yeah.
social media. I'm terrible. I make the
Um,
girls at the shop do it because I'm terrible at it. So
I'll come too.
Yeah,
Will you?
Yeah, I
the
love
two of us
social
will do
media.
it. Yeah, because I think that's really.
okay, I need tips because I am not good at it.
And some of this stuff is good in concept, but it really like if you could just kind of
I
walk
would
us
love
through
it.
like how you thought out
Right.
doing a certain spot, that'd be good. And then we could even go over and do some stuff at Tracy's too. But no, I think it's
She would love
important that we do that because
And I haven't met
honestly
That would be
Tracy,
think
by the
really
way.
fun.
I
I
didn't
don't
know
love
her.
her. She's
Yeah.
the best.
well, we could even do some where we go to your house and pick something and then go to the shop and then come back and
That'd
show
be
it.
so fun.
That'd be
Yeah,
fun.
that'd
Yeah.
be
Because I
fun.
think that
Amen.
people
I'm
want
proud
to
of you
know.
for how you're organizing.
Thank
That's
you.
good.
That is not where my mind goes. So, because I'm more marketing.
Yeah. Oh, you
Creative.
totally are.
So I'm the typical creative who goes, "Oh, I'll get to that."
I'll get to that
Like,
later.
Well, I don't mean this in a
Scarlett
Majority-
O'Hara.
I
I'll
mean
get
this
to
in
that
a
later.
majority of people do.
Yeah.
But I mean this in a reverse sexist way. I mean this because I have I have
Here it comes.
sympathy for you as women. I think it is so much harder for women because you guys have to have so much more stuff.
Mhm.
Like it's crazy how
We
much
do
more
have a lot of
with
stuff.
Well, y'all have pockets. We have a purse.
makeup
Yeah.
and jewelry and like
Mhm.
And the
I
hair
mean,
products, and it's a lot.
it's
Yeah.
a lot of stuff.
And the older we get, the more stuff to try
Yeah.
to look
Absolutely.
good. Yes, for sure.
I don't know how you do it honestly. I mean like that's the one thing
I don't do it very well, but it is. We do have a lot of stuff.
Mhm.
and so all that stuff has to be
Well,
made
then I watch an
into
Instagram
order.
reel and I order more stuff.
Oh, I know. No kidding.
I
I'm getting
IGK
better
hair
about
products.
that.
Like now I have all of them.
My skincare. I'm all
I'm
about the skincare.
a skincare junkie myself.
I am
It's
too, and
ridiculous.
now
we
it's
have so
like-
much with three girls. We've got.
And
And
now
you
it's
told
like
me
too
about
much.
something that I need to order.
oh, I
What
have
is
so
that?
many things to tell
Okay,
you.
oh,
I have
good.
so many things.
See, we've been apart for like a month and a half.
Glass
and
skin.
What do we need?
What?
I'll go through it all with you.
Okay.
But I've also learned is what you can't combine.
Oh.
That's the hard part because like I was
Oh.
combining something's too strong and I was like, ooh, nope, that doesn't work.
I need you to go over the system with me.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. I mean, 58, so it's like time to get a little serious about
You
skin.
look really good.
Oh, thanks.
Yes, you
thanks.
do.
You do.
But the other thing too, you were talking about round top.
oh, round top, yes.
So tell us what
So
that.
okay, so Tracy and I have
Tracy
been
Lorden.
going. Yes, Tracy Salisbury. We've been
Oh,
going.
sorry.
For I know.
Jay
I
Lorden.
know.
Yes,
Everybody
yeah.
does that. We've been going for, I don't know, probably 7 or 8 years.
And it's like antiques.
And it is. And I had heard about it for a long time. And I just thought it was,
Is this in Texas?
Yes.
Okay, yes.
So it's Round Top, Texas, and it's called Round Top. I mean, they do it in the spring. They do it. It's like it's 2 weeks, and it's over like 2 weeks, and then the weekends on the end.
Mm-hmm.
And then the fall, it's more like 2.5 weeks or so in the fall. And then we just got back last week from the winter show, and it's just 4 days. So they just do it 3 times a year, but you just can't describe it. I mean, it really is. It's gotten so huge, and there are people, and I mean, antique that have antique stores and buyers and sellers.
That's what I
From all
love.
over the
Antiques.
world.
Everybody should start.
Like-
do not
like
sell
not
your
just from
antiques right now.
all
Wait
over the
a
country,
moment.
but all over the world. I
Yeah.
mean, it's crazy. And so it's just this little town in the middle of nowhere. I mean, it's kind of in between Houston and Austin, and it's kind of
It's
just
like
about,
becomes a big city or a big town for that, and then it goes back to being a
I
little
mean, it's
town.
like, it's a 2-lane little road, and I mean, it's just off, and there's gorgeous like houses and stuff, but there's not one commercial thing there. I mean, there's one gas station.
Wow,
There
that's
are
cool.
like 4 or 5 little restaurants, and they're wonderful and neat. But I mean, it's and so people have lots of Airbnb houses, but it's open fields, and so everything's just very quaint and it's wonderful. It really is. We just love it, and so it's gotten to be a mix of antiques and then contemporaries, lots of mid-century modern stuff, lots of really modern stuff, like great art, and I mean, these dealers come from all over the world now. I mean, it really is.
Wow.
It's really
is it kind
really
of near
cool.
Lake Fork? There may be
Trying to
another
think
one. I'm
what's-
trying to think where my in-laws
You
live.
ever heard of let's see, it's close to Burton,
Oh,
Texas.
okay,
I don't know
okay.
if you know where that is.
I think it's further south than the one I'm thinking of.
Now I'm going blank on the names of the little towns that are all.
But so this is where you guys go and.
So we've been
find-
going for the last 7 years or so, and then last year, there's a guy from Kansas City. His name's Steve, and he has this place. It's called Prize
Oh, yeah, Steve.
Antiques.
Hey, Steve.
Yeah, he's.
What's
Anyway,
Steve- how's Steve doing?
he's fantastic. You have to follow him on Instagram. He's
Oh,
it's
cool,
called
yeah,
Prize Casey, and
What is it again?
Prize Casey.
Okay.
He has the best eye. You cannot. I mean, it's
Oh,
amazing.
cool.
He is crazy good, and he goes to Europe and gets these huge containers. And so anyway, he opened a shop out there. So Tracy and I got into. Tracy's really close with him, and so we went to Kansas City. I don't know. It's been a long time. A couple of times. He has a huge warehouse there, and so she did a lot of buying from him for her shop when she opened her store. And then so anyway, he opened a place down there a few years ago. So last year was like, Tracy, you got to do this. So she sends a text to some of us last summer, and she's like, I'm losing my mind. She goes, but I just got a place. I'm doing a building. So and
Wow.
it's right next to him. It's in the Horseshoe, which is there's different areas in Round Top that where the people are. But anyway, it's amazing. So it's really really really.
So
cool.
she goes and sells to dealers then, or to the
To
public.
lots of decorators, yeah.
Wow,
So
cool.
so anyway, she's like,
Or you
are
guys.
you gonna go with me? So anyway, I took some of my stuff and we went up. So it really was fun because we kind of started from scratch and we got to decorate. It was really fun.
And it's a 2-week
really fun.
commitment a year.
Right. So
Oh, fun.
there's 2
That's
weeks,
awesome.
2 weeks in the fall, 2 weeks, 2
Oh,
weeks or
okay.
so in the spring, and then the 4 days here. So anyway, we loaded up our truck and took stuff down
Ooh,
there.
we
So
may have to go.
You
next
have to-
time.
it is-
That would be a
I would
blast.
convert
you
it.
all would have the best time. I mean, it's grown like crazy. So lots of girls take girls trips down there, and I mean, you have to book the houses like.
Oh my
in
God.
Yeah,
advance.
where do you stay?
So just like there's a couple little motels, but they're little. I mean, they're neat, but they're little and they book up fast. But all these big places like Cisco and all these places that have the big furniture that Tracy buys from now are getting these places, these Airbnb houses, and doing them, and they're
Oh, wow.
phenomenal.
Oh,
and all these
cool.
decorators, So I don't know if you all have ever heard Leanne Ford. I mean, she's great.
Yeah.
She's a decorator.
Yeah.
She has that line at Crate and Barrel, and like she did a house there, and it's so wonderful. Oh my gosh, we haven't seen it yet, but just the pictures.
Which is
and
also
stuff
in it
on
because
her
it's
Instagram,
only
but-
for a month basically of the year, but they've got they do their stuff.
But it is. I know.
I guess they had to go
Chad
set
says
up. and
It's
do
like the
all
North
that.
Pole.
It's
She's got
crazy.
December.
Yeah,
you know?
exactly.
I know, and the people that live around there, a lot of people have moved, like from that are from Austin and Houston and all the surrounding areas. I
So
mean,
it's becoming a community.
it really
of it.
is, and so it's kind of like you've stepped back in time because it's just quiet and it's wonderful. You would love it. You have to. So there's a few different sites. Like I think one is Visit Round Top, or I'll look at mine and I'll
Oh, I'm
give
going.
them
I'm
to you.
totally going.
You have to go. You have to
You know
go.
what's
This
funny,
spring.
do you-
It's really great. So anyway, that's kind of kept us busy this last year. It's been really fun.
You know, it's hard to understand
Oh,
too. If you're
super
not
fun. I
from
love these
retail,
pictures.
Yeah.
you know, I used to live at Christmas at Charles. You could decide whether you wanted to be in the back wrapping presents or if you wanted to be on the floor. And I
Okay.
always chose to be in the wrapping
In the
room
wrapping.
because Pat Adams would come from Muskogee. You remember Pat?
Of course I do.
Oh my God, she was so
crazy.
much fun.
She was so much fun.
And we would
Oh.
have so much fun, and we would have the dinger bell, and she would do the one sleazy greasy and make it bleed. Like she pretended like we were in a diner. I mean, it was like we're at the nicest
I mean,
design
there was
store
just
in
never
Tulsa.
a
And
dull-
she's going,
dull moment.
one sleazy greasy and make her bleed.
Well, we have plenty of moments like that. I mean, around
You gotta
town.
have it.
You have to. You
Retail
have
is so crazy.
I know.
Yeah,
It
oh, yeah.
really is.
Yeah, because
So
you
fun.
probably
It
sleep
is.
for 2 weeks after your 2 weeks
to.
there.
It is.
Yeah,
I know. It
right.
is. But you know what? It's
And
kind
it's
of
a
funny
high.
because the town shuts down. I mean, literally, like we'll work all day and then we go eat and we're like in our pajamas by 7:30 or so. It's like, but there's all these little local hole in the wall little like what is called I don't know what was it called, the Burton Ice Stop, and it was like a little dirt floors and this little bar. I think they had a guy sing one night and they had patty melt night, and so we went.
Oh, how fun.
We went. We met him. That he was a bug. He sprayed bugs. He worked for a pest control company by day, and he was a chef by night. It was hilarious.
I
He was
love it.
the nicest guy you've ever.
Renaissance.
I mean, he was the nicest thing ever. He's like, you got to come. So anyway, we showed up, and he goes, I didn't think you all would come. And I said, well, I told you we would come. so anyway, of course, it was like the best burger we've ever eaten, and so we had the best time. The best time. So
Canton, Texas.
Canton.
Canton.
That's
That's another
that's
thing,
where
yeah.
my in-laws
Right.
live
So
near.
Canton, it's kind of like I've never been to Canton, but it's like a humongous Canton.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Even bigger than Canton.
it is. It's
Wow.
the craziest thing you could find. Anything you could possibly imagine that you're looking for, you can find it.
Road trip.
Yeah, it's really really fun. You guys have to go. I mean,
No.
you can find the best cowboy boots. You can find they have it's just really talented people. So it's really neat.
So
It's
really
fun.
artisan stuff.
It's really great.
You know, it's
Yes.
kind of crazy because it's like everybody, I think we all have this thing about housing and decorating and it's all kind of fluffy but it's sort of funny because it's, like Kristen will come and stay with me and she's just been like on tour and exhausted
and just wants to shut
and
down.
just wants to shut down. And like one of her favorite things on earth is to stay in my guest room. And it's like, I mean, I live in a very small little house. I mean, it's not fancy, but it is, I've done a good job making it
No, it's
feel
so great.
comfortable.
It's
And
such a neat house.
and it's
I
like-
love it. I
it's
love
so
it.
funny because everyone thinks you have to have all this money and you have to do it isn't really about that.
No.
It's really about creating serenity and peace
It
and
is.
beauty and
You've
that
done
can
such a
be
good job
well thanks. I
doing that
really
with
love
your
my
house,
house.
Jack.
I do. But it's just
So cute.
it's just one of those things like I think this is so important because I mean like you even get to the place where you like I remember that drawer before like I'd open it and be like oh my God where's my cholesterol medicine
Yeah.
I mean
Mhm.
just now I'm like
We just have a
I go and
tendency
do
to
all my
just
medicine in the morning I have all my
Right.
medicine in the evening
accumulate
and I'm
so much
done.
stuff.
Yeah.
We all do.
Yep.
It's
But
kind of-
how do you live and how do you bring order to it and then beyond that how do you make that beautiful
right.
and what is your definition of beauty?
Mhm.
And I think that's one thing I like about your style and your aesthetic too, is that you really do, you don't just impose your look on everybody. You try to really be conscious of what the person wants. And I think that's an underestimated ability.
Well, thank you so much. I appreciate it. Thank you for saying that.
Yeah, well, I mean it. I really do.
Well, I think though when you start, like you're saying, if you start with one area, it really does make you realize how much stuff that we accumulate, and it kind of is. It's exhausting. It's totally.
It's gross.
It's gross. I mean,
It really is
It
gross.
really is, and I get really disgusted with myself. I mean, like loading up all these clothes of like the girls and me too. I mean, I'm guilty that still have the tags on it. We've never worn them, and I'm like, this is
And you know what?
disgusting.
I'm so bad.
It's-
I wear like the same 2 pair of jeans,
Oh,
the same 2 or 3
we
pairs
all
of
do.
slacks. Like if I really were to go in my closet and really just keep what I wear and then some occasional formal stuff,
Yep.
it would be a whole different look than what I've got. It's
It is,
crazy.
and really, like when I do a closet or a paint, the ones that look the best are the like the sparse ones that are
with like an inch between each hanger.
yes, or that have 10 white things, or 10 black and not 100. I mean, where everything's stuffed in.
I will say
Because
what
I buy
bugs,
the same things over
Oh,
and
I
over
know, we
again.
all
what
do.
bugs
Exact
the-
same things.
Totally, I do too.
and then you go home and go, I have 13 of these. What bugs me though is
Yeah.
when you go to like Crate and Barrel or Container Store and they have the beautiful closet and they have everything is white and beige that they put. It's like that would be great if all I wore was white and beige.
Right.
Like you can't make your closet.
Right.
That's kind of like I used to tell people whenever I was doing design work, and they would say, "I want my house to look like this magazine." I'm like, even that house doesn't look like that.
No,
Right.
Like
doesn't.
they have
They
lit it and changed it and
Exactly.
changed things around.
they've taken everything out of it.
So your
yeah.
realistic expectation of like a closet when you're looking at magazines and they have all monochromatic clothing, that's not what your closet's going to look
No.
like.
Right.
That's not the.
That's kind of why I liked the edit when they came out with that they did the whole rainbow colors.
They do the
Because no matter
colors.
what colors you have, there's a place for them.
Yeah. They have a really good eye. They really do. And it's all about categories. I mean, they categorize everything, and that's they no matter what color you
Like,
have or
give me an
whatever.
example.
But like in my pantry. I mean, if you're going to clean out your pantry, like I do all my cans on one, because my pantry is just like you can walk in it, but it's not huge at all by any means. I mean, it's just kind of a U shape.
You
So-
had me at you just got to walk in.
Yeah.
I
Well, I mean, no, barely.
literally
I mean,
step
it's
in.
not big.
It's a
It's
step
a
in,
step.
yeah.
Step. I mean,
That's
it's not a big pantry whatsoever.
I've been in her pantry and it is a step in,
Yes.
not a walk in.
It's not a walk. It's step. There, you can step, but that's about it.
We're that kind of friend. I've been
Yes.
in your pantry.
For sure, many times. But
Getting
it's,
snacks.
If you've been in my kitchen, you've been in my pantry. That's the kind of house I have right now.
Anyway, so you're
those are usually the easiest to keep.
That's
They
true.
are. They are, because it's just like, those. If like anything, if you have a huge closet, you're going to fill it up no matter
Mhm.
what. If you have a pantry, you're going to fill it up. So a lot of times it's just it's easier.
So you were
It is.
saying, and I interrupted, you're going
No,
in, you
I
got
just
your cans
like
all
I have
together.
all my cans are on one side, and all of my pasta and rice is together. Like I'll do that, or when I do a pantry, I'll do all the sugar and the flour, and I do it all together in one place. And I just think it's, for one, I think it's much easier to find, and it just, I mean, aesthetically to look at it, it looks pretty.
Do you remember
it
Nancy
does.
Renberg's pantry?
Oh,
She alphabetized
she was
her canned
she was
goods.
the ultimate.
Oh,
Literally.
wow. Okay, we need to
I
define
color.
more hat
I
than
usually. I mean, yeah. I'm not. That's when
All of her
when
canned
things
goods
are
were
getting crazy.
alphabetized.
I know that I get extra. Like, I mean, every color has to be lined up, and then I'm like, okay, stop it, because I can easily
Time to go play some
there.
pickleball.
Time to mix things up for sure.
Crazy.
So we'll tell everybody again where your shop is, what your hours are, how they can come
Okay.
visit.
It's called Clear, and it's in the T.A. Lorton building, which is at 6th and Zunis, downtown. And it's that area, that street's getting just really, really cute.
It really is.
It
That
really
little
is. It's
Bar
really-
restaurant down the street is so great.
Oh, I know. I still haven't been there.
Oh,
I
it's
need to
awesome.
go.
I'll go.
I've heard it's
when
really
it gets
good.
nice weather, we'll go.
Heard they have good tater tots,
Really good.
and I love tater tots. See, talking about healthy eating. But anyway, so yeah, 6 and Zunis, and we are open Monday through Saturday.
Okay.
10 to 5.
Awesome.
Awesome.
Yes.
And we really were. We're gonna
Please come
schedule and do
and help
some
me with
things.
my
'cause-
social
That'd
media.
be fun,
'Cause
yeah.
I would love it.
When I think
I
it's
need
good-
help.
and I think people really. I think this is like you were saying. 2025 is your year of organizing.
Mhm.
I think you're not going to look at my office because my office does not look like my house. That's why
You know
I
what?
don't work from
Our
my
office does
house
not look like.
because
You should see
if
Chad's
I
office
work
right
from
now.
it, I
terrible.
don't. My work style is chaotic because I have to have my stuff around,
Right.
and I don't want that in my house. So
Right.
like I come here
Yeah.
and I have that, and I shut the door and I go
Yes.
home.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like I've learned, for me, working at home does not work because I can't stand those stacks
I know.
when it's my house. But for my work, I just come in here, do it. I don't think about it.
I know.
You could basically plant potatoes in my office.
That's okay,
half the
Jack.
time.
You're good at what you do. That's all
Well,
that matters.
thank
Yes,
you.
he is.
Thank
It's
you.
the best.
Thank you. No, seriously, I
you.
just think it's so great to have the history that we have
Me too.
and have such an admiration for you and your ability, but also just you as a human.
Thank you,
and-
Jack. I adore you.
And so I think that the getting real thing has really been interesting because I've never, in all of our years of
really,
talking, I've never really put together that creating order out of chaos
Mhm,
from your past.
mhm, for sure.
I just think that is so.
It is
if
funny,
nothing
isn't it?
else from this whole thing, I think what an insightful thing
Yeah.
that we all maybe you didn't come from the perfect Ozzie and Harriet situation, but
And
maybe
who really
who
has
did.
ever
Has.
come from that?
Yeah. And your parents were wonderful.
Oh, yeah,
That
they're
was
the
an
best.
element, but it's
for sure.
and that's just it's part of life. But it's like but some of those things that were negatives, you can turn around
You
and
can
make
turn
them
around.
into a
Yeah, and I've had to
positive,
learn
yeah.
to have balance.
Yeah.
With things, and it's it's just one of those things in life we just have to usually learn the hard
Isn't
way
it
and teach
also-
it ourselves.
Isn't it also interesting now, like when you look back at how old your parents were and you get shocked, like
Oh,
when you're a child and you think they should be so perfect and they're not, and you're like, oh my God,
Oh
they
my
were
gosh.
25 and 30 years
No
old. They
kidding.
were just
Yeah.
basically
Yes.
figuring this shit out.
no kidding.
Stuff out too. Sorry.
I know, it's the truth. I think about it daily.
Yeah.
Give them a lot more of a break, don't you?
No kidding. There's
Yeah.
nothing like that can put you in your place more than thinking of like.
Or
about
when
that.
your kids get mad at something, some parenting thing that you've done, and you're like, just wait till you have
You
kids.
just wait.
They did not come with a manual.
Yeah. Things have a funny way of coming right back
Mhm.
around.
So
They
yesterday-
always do.
My mom was saying how when I started acting, how proud my dad was, because I don't know if you were more excited or your dad was more excited, because that was always his interest that he didn't ever pursue. And I started thinking about that, and I was thinking, we had so many bonding things over that. Like he
Uh-huh.
would drive me to rehearsals, and he would drive me to auditions, and he was so instrumental because he really was like my
He's the
guy,
best.
to
He's
make
the
sure
best.
that all of that was, I got to do all that. And it's so amazing because I can have so many things about my childhood with him that I can complain about, but the reality is he was in my corner,
Mhm.
Totally.
and supported all that. So I think all this is really interesting. And I think that's one thing we really wanted to emphasize on the Get Real is like, let's just get real with each other about all these things.
There's nothing better.
We're in a weird time right now.
Yeah.
We're in a really weird time right now, and we all have a lot of different ideas on how things are going. But at the same time, these are the things that we can do. We can take
Yep.
some of the chaos, and in our own home or in our own health, we have control.
For
we
sure.
We can do
Well,
as
and
much
as
as
we get
possible.
older, I know for myself, I only want to be around authentic people.
Yeah.
It's just life's too hard anyway,
Mhm.
Isn't it even interesting your definition of authentic changes?
Oh gosh, it's so
Like,
true.
what I used to think of as authentic and now is so
Oh, completely different.
Completely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a little more raw every year, doesn't it? Just,
Mhm.
but it's the best.
Yep.
For
Yeah.
sure. I know.
Well, thank you.
Well, thank you all.
This is
was
great.
so fun.
And we're
I
going to
never.
see you soon. We're gonna
I hope
come
so.
to Clear.
Okay, good. I know, Jack. I miss you. Just popping.
Don't
in.
blink as you'll miss Clear.
Right.
It's such a
For
cool
sure.
shop.
Let's figure out a time next week to go.
Please
Yeah,
do.
we'll do
Please
it.
come.
Okay.
I would love
Once we wrap up the broadcast, then we'll figure it out, and then you'll see it on upcoming.
it. Oh yeah.
Social
That's
media.
That would be
Yeah.
awesome. That'd be so fun. I would
Awesome.
love it.
All
Thank
right.
you all so
Thank
much.
you.
Absolutely, and thank you guys for joining and getting real with us.
Appreciate it. See you next week.